Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're looking at the two mover again. White to play here and checkmate in two moves. Our pawn is going in this direction. So, can you find out how we checkmate here in two moves? Give it a try, pause the video, think about it on your own time, and when you return, I go through all variations with you. Okay, welcome back. So let's have a look at this. What are we doing? Hey, look at this. Here's a free queen. Let's grab it. Oops, I made an error. What happened now? Well, as black king cannot move, this is a stalemate. So that's not a mistake we should do. Not grabbing the queen either way, not with the rook and not with the bishop. That's going to end up in a stalemate, and we are just having a draw, which is, of course, not acceptable when we can instead checkmate in two moves. So when we turn around and look at it, pretty soon we see as black king cannot move, the black queen is the only piece that can move. So if it would have been black's turn right now, this is actually a zugzwang. Whatever he does, if he moves away the queen from the fourth rank, then we have a check. Sorry, yeah, if we put it here, then we have a checkmate on c4. Instead, if he grabs our rook, well, then we can push the pawn to e4, which gives us a checkmate from the bishop. But it's not black's turn to move. But as we see, this is a zugzwang issue. We have to find a move that really puts black put the pressure on black to see where he can go. So when we start looking at our queen first, it turns out pretty soon we see that this is very ideally placed. It covers everything here. The pawn covers here, the king covers here. If we move away the queen, it's just going to be in a worse position. Start checking anyway, and the black king can escape. So there's really nowhere we can put the queen to put it in a better spot, which means we have to do something else. And the thing is, of course, that our rook here, as we cannot take the queen, it's still pinned by the queen to our king. So we cannot move away the rook anywhere along the g file. So, and we cannot grab the queen as said, which really narrows things down. Now, let's see, if we try this to checkmate here, well, we're just going to lose our bishop, and there's no checkmate left for many moves here. So that's not an issue either. So what about this pin? Should we go away from the pin, perhaps? My first thought was king to a5, getting away from the pin. If the queen moves anywhere along this h file, then we have a checkmate here. If he grabs the bishop, etc., we still have a checkmate here. If he grabs the rook, then we have a checkmate like this. So could that be the solution? Well, it turns out there's a spot down here for the black queen, which is a check. And of course, that doesn't lead to checkmate back in the next move. So king a5 is out of the question. Should we then put it somewhere, perhaps on b3? Then we're getting away from all the checks. Black cannot check us now. But the problem is when we leave the king like this, we open up for escape route for black king to b5. And we don't have any checkmate really threatening here either. So we have to keep the king on a4. We cannot move the queen as said. We cannot start with moving the pawn. We will just lose our bishop. Perhaps we should move the bishop. Well, if we move it here and we still have the same threat, it all falls because black will simply just take this rook. And now this is not a checkmate because it will also grab the bishop. And this is actually now only a draw. So the bishop has to stay also, which means we have to move the rook. And we cannot take the queen. We looked at that. Can we check? Well, of course not. Black will just take it. What about rook d4? Now we are threatening a checkmate here also. And again, if the queen moves somewhere along the h file like this, then we still have rook c4 checkmate. But there is only one move for black that stops the checkmate in the next move, and that is the wonderful little move of queen to f4. It's now threatening the bishop, and the bishop is really pointless now because too many pieces in the way, and we cannot take it because this is not checkmate. This is a stalemate instead. And again, of course, back covers c4 if we try anything. So that's not working. Instead, the correct move comes here. It's rook to f4. We should put the rook there. But now, if black grabs it, then we take back with the pawn and open up for the bishop for the checkmate. And if he moves just one step to g4, trying something, then we will not use our rook, but instead opens up. Now we can play e4 and checkmate like this. And if the queen moves anywhere away from the fourth rank, then we just follow up with the rook c4 checkmate. Same if he grabs here, we just move the rook to c4 with a checkmate. And there's nothing, no square black queen can push to cover here. So this is just resign. We will checkmate in the next move by the small little starting move of rook to f4. That's how we solve this little puzzle. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you managed to solve it. I think we get something else tomorrow. Welcome back then. Have a great day. Bye bye.